Welcome to this guided meditation to help you remove mental blocks and go for goals, to master your mind and master your life. This session will allow you to feel as well as to actively learn what is needed to go the distance to achieve your goals. And if you are unsure as to what has been holding you back, this session will help you understand as well as remove those blocks. As always, do not listen to this while driving or operating machinery or with any other task at hand. And find a quiet space where it is safe to relax. And settle your body in. And just spend a few moments focusing on your breathing. Settle back as you breathe in and out. And breathing in and out. And as you allow your thoughts to collect, as you turn your attention to your mind, to your goals, I want you to create a picture in your mind, seeing the earth from above. And as you zoom in, getting closer and closer, at a steady pace, you start to get closer to a landscape. Seeing a landscape from above that is not yet known. And as you sink down to earth, you look around and you see just desert. As you look around, you see sand everywhere, with no discernible landmarks, no buildings, no people. A feeling as if you had just been parachuted into this place. And the day is just starting as you see the sun rising. You bend down and pick up a handful of sand and sift it through your fingers. It is still cool as the sun is just rising. And you look around trying to think where you are and why you are here. You feel a sense of urgency and mission about this place. You allow the sand to run through your fingers, feeling the grains of sand between your fingertips. A reminder that time is ticking away. You don't know what day it is, what place this is, or country. You're not sure how you got here, but you need to get out. You look all around and everywhere looks the same. There's nothing here except the clothes on your back. And with no other information, you look at the direction of the sun rising and set your bearings. And you scan the horizon more carefully now. and there is one thing that calls your attention in the very distance, a dot. This one dot on an otherwise empty, anonymous landscape. And you notice your thoughts as you look at this dot. What questions come up? What considerations come to mind? Faced with all these unknowns, notice how your mind is reacting. And with no other information, you decide to explore and head off towards this spot on the landscape. And as you walk, you pause to take your shoes off to gain traction, and you feel the softness of the sand beneath your feet. The wind picks up every now and then and skims sand along the surface. And as you keep walking, you get closer and closer. And you see that this is an object. And as you get closer still, you see that this is an old army type Jeep, a 4x4 car. You walk around it once and notice the keys are still in the ignition. You open the door and you sit in the leather seat, which squeaks a little with rusty springs underneath. You wipe the dust off the dashboard and turn the key in the ignition. It attempts to start and fails. But you try again. You focus on this one task, one thing at a time. A couple more turns of the key in the ignition and success, it starts. And you take note of the gas, it is a quarter tank full. There is no way to know how long this journey will take. Is this enough? Will this get you further away? Is it better to just stay still? You acknowledge your doubts and fears, but you keep an open mind and start. Above all, you start this journey. And you look around, north, south, west, and the sun rising in the east. And as this is the only reference here, you decide to use all of your senses. You think logically. You check your gut instinct or intuition. And between head and heart, something tells you to head north. And so, keeping the sun on your right side as it starts to rise, you drive forward. The gears grind a little as you set off, and you grip the large steering wheel. You bounce in the seat along with the sound of the rusty springs. As you head forward, you engage with your environment. And as this is all new, your senses are heightened, not relying on any one sense, not relying on either just head or heart, but every sense, every source of guidance in you, and the sun. As you feel inside of you that you turn up the dials on your intuition, feeling the landscape out, noting the position of the sun, taking time to get used to driving this Jeep. And looking around every now and then for any signs of change in this desolate landscape, for any hope ahead. And as you feel the sun on your right side getting higher and brighter, your right side starts to feel warmer and warmer. You are aware of the increasing intensity of the sun. You become engrossed in taking in the most subtle changes in the ever-shifting shape of the sand dunes. Attune to any sound that may vary from the sound of the car's engine and the sand being thrown against the car in shushing waves as the tires dig in their tread. Any sign at all that you may be headed in the right direction. And after some time, some minutes or hours, it's hard to tell. Coming up, you notice a couple of tall dots. And you see trees, palm trees, a sign of water somewhere. And as you see them ahead, you feel a small moment of relief. You congratulate yourself for this. And whether it was intuition or luck, a moment's celebration is fine, but you need to get going. With the uniform landscape, it's still so hard to tell how much further the distance truly is to any kind of safety. You look at the speedometer on the Jeep and notice how fast each kilometer ticks over. Noticing the gap narrow as the trees seem to come closer. And as you pass through the center of the palm trees, you pause, looking at each tree for some sign, any sign at all. In all this uncertainty, is there any indicator of the way forward? But each palm tree seems mute, as if you would want them to speak, but they refuse. And you feel a moment of frustration rising, but realize you can either stay here, give up, or carry on. And you carry on. The only way is forward. There is no water here, no fruit to be eaten, and as the sun climbs higher in the sky, you feel the heat on the top of your head. No matter now, the only option is forward. You become more attuned to your surroundings and notice the subtlest shift in landscape as it changes. You see more trees coming up, more hope that there is greater sign of life, of water, of safety. And as the palm trees get more and more populous, you weave in and out of them, taking diversions where the road is too narrow, keeping your frustration in check as you have to double back on your tracks. And every now and then you pause the car, you look back, noticing how far you've come. And when you look ahead again, you notice how you feel. There is a distance to go. There is no sign of the end yet, but you have made progress. Sometimes when we make progress, there is no clear landmark, no sign of the end in sight. But you've come this far and you push yourself even further. Putting emotions to one side, notice how far you've come, and notice how much there is to go simply as observation. There is a job to do, a journey to complete. And as you carry on, you sometimes become so focused on seeing what's over the horizon that you don't notice small rocks here and there, and the car suddenly gets jolted by a larger rock. And you come out of a slight reverie and realize you need to pay attention to what is in the path in front of you. So you start to pay more attention to what is immediately in front of the Jeep, weaving your way around as larger rocks appear here and there, and picking the lower dunes between the higher ones. And you feel proud of how flexible and dexterous you are on this journey, weaving between the obstacles, accepting that the path forward is not always straight. But then you look up and back, and you realize that you have headed off course, as the palm trees are not squarely behind you. And you realize that you have been too focused on the path immediately in front of you, and a twinge of frustration comes up again. But instead you brush this aside and adjust your approach, pointing the car to face north again, and now you switch your gaze between looking further ahead and back to the path in front of you, looking for any immediate obstacles in your path. Looking as far ahead as your vision stretches, course correcting to your goal, and looking down to ensure that you are on track and on a path that you can continue. And there are more and more palm trees here and there, but yet no evidence that you are on your way to a place of safety. No idea when your next meal or water will be. There is nothing else, no one else to rely on except yourself, you think. You are feeling the heat of the desert, as the sun feels less a friend and more mocking of you now. And for a moment you are aware of how thirsty and hungry, dusty and tired you are. Confused and lost in this strange place. But as the palm trees get thicker, although this makes the driving more difficult, you remind yourself that this is also a good sign. Few things are rarely just good or bad, and this is a sign of more life ahead, you hope. A safer place perhaps just over the horizon. It becomes more lush and green, and you come across different obstacles in your way. Sometimes able to brush aside fallen branches, other times having to deviate around a boulder blocking your way, and other times taking an even bigger diversion where you reach a dead end. But you remember your overall path. And even when you have to turn back on the path just taken, you swallow your pride and remind yourself you will always find true north, even in those moments of seeming to get further away. You course correct when you can and face true north, staying intent on your focus. Reminding yourself that the landscape is becoming promising. Although what promise it makes you don't know yet, and you keep the faith that you will ultimately find your way out of here. And as you get to the top of the peak of a hill, suddenly you come into sight of a small town. From the peak of this hill you look down, and you can see the dirt track changes to tarmac now. For the first time there is a real road ahead. And the sound of tyres against tarmac is such a welcome sound that you suddenly become aware of your thirst, your fatigue, your hunger, the heat. It seems now that the end should be in sight. You have come this far, so you will go the distance. And you start to appreciate everything from this journey. Not just searching for the destination, but how you have overcome your frustration, your doubt, the lack of direction, relying on your intuition and intellect, refining all of your senses to find your way out. And you start to appreciate this journey for what it is. The car is coated in sand and dust. Your hands raw from gripping the steering wheel. But even the tarmac underneath your tyres is a welcome relief. As they go round and round, you come to a fork in the road. 3 ways, and each way could lead to the town ahead, but you can't see a clear route forward. There is a sign, but in a lettering and language you cannot understand. And in the shade of a rickety shelter at this fork, there are 3 people, but they speak a language you do not speak, and they do not speak yours. So you try to signal to the town and how to get there. You indicate drinking and eating, and they all look at each other, then confer heavily. and they all seem to point all three ways and seem intent on finding agreement amongst themselves. And so as you watch them, you notice which route you decide to choose. As you look at each of the three paths at the fork in the road, notice engaging your head and your heart. What does your head tell you? What does your heart tell you? What do you remember from the view of the hill? And as you drive on, picking one way, you notice all the thoughts going through your mind. And you embrace the uncertainty. You are a pioneer in your own life here. This is all new. It is impossible to know all. You are moving forward. You are acknowledging risks and responding, sometimes by pushing through obstacles, sometimes by going around obstacles. You are asking for advice, but weighing up who seems trustworthy and what advice seems sound. And you are always checking in with head and heart. You are checking your direction and course correcting if you discover you are off track. You have come so far already on this journey. And you realize this journey itself was what you needed to learn. And you come round one more corner on this road, and you see an oasis. At last. An oasis suddenly by the side of this road. A towering palatial building with gleaming columns and a cool pool. You can hardly believe your own eyes. And out front is a doorman waving to you, as if expecting you. And you slow down and turn off the engine, and he welcomes you. You made it. And you are suddenly aware of how tired you are. Your bones ache. Your muscles are tense from steering the car. Your mind weary with decisions. And he hands you a cool drink in a long, tall glass. And you hear the ice cubes clink as you get out the car. And as you drink it, you think to yourself, it is the coolest, most refreshing drink you have ever had. And you let out a sigh of relief. And you're shown into a cool room with a fan swishing on the ceiling, crisp white bed sheets on a huge bed, and a clean change of clothes freshly pressed and new shoes. and you take your time to unwind, to bathe and change. And you lie down on the bed for a moment, just watching the fan as it swishes almost silently. As everything you have learned today, every strength you have developed in yourself, settles in your subconscious mind. And you reach out and take another sip of the drink to refuel your self-belief. You can take on this journey and any other. You can go for the goals that you dare to dream of. And as you lie back again on this bed, as you look back on this journey and feel the cool trickles of the drink, it refuels all the abilities you have learned today. Your strength in both head and heart. Your self-reliance. Your ability to keep going when there is no evidence of the end in sight. Your adaptability in the face of obstacles. Your persistence in overcoming hurdles. Your tolerance for discomfort. Your ability to learn and adjust along the way. Your management of your own frustration. Your greater focus on possibilities instead of fears. And as this cool drink flows into your stomach, this magic elixir fuels all of these qualities, washing away the last traces of self-doubt, of any paralyzing fear and frustration which has previously impeded your progress. As you realize that you are a pioneer in your own life. And allow all of these qualities to strengthen your mindset. And in a moment now, I'm going to count you up from 1 to 10. And as I count you up, you will slowly come back up to a fully alert state, bringing with you all the good qualities you have learned to master your mind, your emotions, and go for your life's goals. And 1, allowing all the good qualities you have developed today to sink in. and 2, feeling strength in both head and heart wisdom, and 3, bringing with you all the perseverance from today's adventure, and 4, feeling faith flow through you, and 5, feeling your intuition strong, and 6, feeling courage to face life's unknowns, that newness is uncertainty, and 7, feeling doubt, fear and frustration washed away, and up to 8, feeling stronger in self-belief, and 9, feeling your self-reliance fueled up, and all the way up to 10 now, feeling mentally and emotionally fully equipped for your next adventure. As you are a pioneer in your own life.